I love anthology series. I grew up watching Tales from the Crypt and the Goosebumps show, reading and watching Goosebumps. I love the Creep Show movies. My favorite show of all time, Twilight Zone. What I'm trying to say is I love short form storytelling, specifically short form horror storytelling. So I guess I'm predisposed to like creepypastas. If you don't know what creepypastas are, they are internet short stories in a way. The most famous one being, Slender Man. Slender Man, not my favorite creepypasta, but there are many. There's the Russian Sleep Experiment. That's another famous one. I guess you could count the SCP things to be creepypastas. There's the infamous Squidward suicide story. There's the haunted Legend of Zelda game creepypasta. There's many an internet lore short horror story out there that you can find, mostly on Reddit. And I love all of them, really. There's some duds, but when the person really commits to the story that they're telling and builds a world around it, it can really elevate everything. I also love, I don't know how to say it other than like alternate reality videos. So that would mean like there's many a video on here. Okay, so if you're familiar with Slender Man, there's a bunch of videos on here that act like Slender Man's real, of people in the woods and they see Slender Man in the woods and they zoom in on him and the camera starts getting staticky. You got whole online series dedicated to him, like Marble Hornets. You got Everyman Hybrid. You got God, there's one that I love, Everyman Hybrid. If you haven't, this isn't about Everyman Hybrid, but if you don't know about Everyman Hybrid, go to their YouTube channel, start from the beginning. It's fascinating, the world they build with YouTube videos. Fascinating. There's another one with Slenderman that I really like, whose name I can't remember right now. There's Alan Resnick. Alan Tutorial is another fantastic YouTube channel that's like an alternate reality. Like, it's fucked up. It's a tutorial channel that slowly unravels into just scary insanity, and it tells a story at the same time. It's wonderful. So, all this to say, I also really love creepypastas. All that being said, what I'm trying to say is I am predisposed to absolutely love the show I want to talk about tonight, Channel Zero. Specifically, we're going to talk about Season 1 of Channel Zero. I know I said I was going to talk about It Follows, and I'll get to that, but I've started rewatching Channel Zero, and my God, this is one of my favorite shows of all time, too. Top 10, easily. Top 10. Channel Zero is a horror anthology series based off creepypastas. It's everything I want. And it's done pitch perfectly. Wonderfully done. Excellently done. So let's start with Season 1. I'm not going to spoil anything, by the way, because I really want people to see the show. Nobody watched this show when it was on, and it really bummed me out, because first I had nobody to talk to, and second because I'm surprised it went as many seasons as it got. Was it like 4 seasons? Honestly, surprised, because it felt like it flew under the radar. But it should deserve more seasons. They should bring it back. So Season 1 of Channel Zero, Candle Cove. If you're a creepypasta fan, you know exactly which story Candle Cove is. And I'll just tell you the brief plot of the Candle Cove creepypasta, because what I love about this show is it takes the core of the creepypasta and it expands it, and it does its own thing with it, and it does its own story within the story that they're given, which is wonderfully done. So, Candle Cove creepypasta is the writer is writing about a old kids show that they used to watch called Candle Cove. And him and his friends remember it vaguely when they were kids. And it was a weird, creepy puppet show about pirates. And there was a skeleton pirate, and he was creepy, and he would talk to them. And there would be, subliminal things in the show. And at the end of the story, it's revealed, and this isn't spoiling the show because it's kind of like given away right away on the show too. At the end of the story, it's revealed they talk to their parents and they're like, "There's no show. You guys would just sit and stare at the TV while it was playing static all the time." Great ending to a story. Fascinating. It leaves it open ended for a real story to be told, which this show does, and boy does it, because this show, I love how it's kind of a riff on It, the Stephen King thing, the book. It's kind of a riff on that, where these adults, this adult goes back to his hometown when he was a kid, where he suffered some traumatic shit, and now he must suffer through that traumatic shit as an adult and deal with the trauma of the past and the present, and all the while being haunted by these really creepy fucking puppets. And it's main guy is I don't know his real name. I just know him as for you Parks and Rec fans, I just know the dude is Mark Brandanowitz, but he's a fantastic dude in this movie. Excellent performance, really subtle performance, really quiet, muted, and just really haunting. Everyone's performance in this movie is in this show. I mean, it's pretty much a movie. It's 6 episodes. Everyone's performance is fantastic. His mom is played by the lady who was the aunt in Harry Potter. She's fantastic. She's great. Everyone in the show is great. There's some horrifying fucking imagery in this show, and that is another thing I love. The imagery is sort of Ari Aster before Ari Aster, I guess, in a way. I don't want to, maybe I'm being hyperbolic comparing Channel Zero to stuff like Hereditary and Midsommar, but it really does carry that weight and that vibe, and I love it. It's a quiet show too. It's very quiet. It's very it's in a way that I didn't expect it to be, like just shots of like slowly zooming into the woods and you see something in the woods, or just shots of like people standing and there's something behind them and there's something behind them. It's wonderful. So the haunting imagery are obviously the Candle Cove puppets. As you can see, I probably have them on screen right now. Really, really terrifying. But the way they're portrayed is also terrifying. And this movie, the show, I keep saying movie. You know why? Because it really does feel like a movie. This show makes kids creepy as fuck. The kids in this show, there's children in this show that are creepy as goddamn hell. And I respect that, because it's hard to make kids creepy to me, IMO. I don't really, even Children of the Corn, I'm like, these kids ain't that creepy. Come on, man. I could kick them all in the shins. But this show, it's kind of like, nah, man, if you're ganged up by kids, you're going to get ganged up by kids, and you can't stop it. So on top of the creepy puppets, there is one more horrific monster on the show, as you can see on the poster. It's the goddamn Tooth Child. That is a child. That's a child made out of teeth, baby teeth. And it's featured a lot in the show, and the sound it makes, just by walking, the sound it makes is fucking ugh. It's like nails on a chalkboard to hear. Just teeth grinding when it walks, when it touches things, and there's real close up. It's an amazing effect. It's an amazing it's probably a costume. It's an amazing costume. It really looks real. They get real close up to that Tooth Child's face. It's disgusting. I also love the storytelling, because it's quick. It's only 6 episodes, and you would think, oh, okay, so maybe they streamline some stuff. But no, this show, for 6 episodes, it takes its time, and it answers what it needs to at the same time, which is a feat of excellence to me. I don't know how they did that. And on top of it all, it's edited really well. There's very good editing in this show, which is crucial for horror. I don't know if you guys realize how crucial editing is for horror, but there are some sudden cuts to things, or just some sudden really intense close-ups or intense long shots of foreboding things happening that are really, really creepy. The atmosphere of the show is really where it stands out. This show is atmospheric as fuck, and it's a perfect atmosphere. It's pitch perfect. It's Halloween atmosphere to its highest peak. I love this show. Have I made that obvious yet? I love Channel Zero. I just finished the first season yesterday. That's why I wanted to talk about it. I just rewatched it since I haven't seen it since it premiered on TV, but watching it again, I forgot how good this first season is. And yeah, it kind of stumbles at the end, but I mean, what horror story doesn't stumble at the end? It's very in line with Stephen King in that way. But honestly, it doesn't stumble that badly. There are some things left open-ended because you kind of have to with the story that it's telling, but there are some good resolutions and there are some smart choices made at the end. And there's also some very unexpected choices made just in terms of, I mean, let's be look, I'm not going to spoil anything by saying people get killed on this show. It's a horror show, for God's sake, but it's very surprising on who they choose to kill on this show. Very shocking. And everyone makes like a normal, like logical choice in their life, and nobody ever gets killed out of stupidity. Everybody gets killed by surprise, which is good. That's what you need in a horror movie. Nobody's being stupid. They're all being surprised, which is great. All this to say, if you can, I would suggest buying the entire series on DVD. It's out. It's pretty cheap. It's on DVD. It's only four seasons. Four fantastic seasons. If you haven't seen it and you're like, I don't want to buy something I haven't seen, honestly, trust me, blind buy this show. And it's also on Shudder, which is I have a Shudder account, so that's how I'm watching it now. If you don't have Shudder, it's a streaming thing for horror. I mean, I have to have Shudder with this channel. It's kind of how I'm doing it. And yeah, I really wish this show stayed on longer. I really do. I did see that the creator of Channel Zero has made a new show on Netflix that I'm going to watch after this. I'll probably review that too because it looks like a new season of Channel Zero, which is great, but it's an original story, I believe. So I'm very excited to see that once I'm, done rewatching this show. But yeah, have you seen Channel Zero? What did you think of it? Specifically season 1. Let me know. And talk about season 2 next week. Season 2 being No End House, which, if you've read that creepypasta, it's another fantastic story, left open-ended at the end for another storyteller to really branch out and make their own thing. It's wonderful. And yeah, what's your favorite creepypasta? Let me know in the comments too. I really, really love reading creepypasta. My favorite creepypasta, before we leave, my favorite creepypasta is the one, I forgot what it was called. It's the one with the mold, like this city that has like this mold that's like fucking people up. It's really creepy. I highly suggest you look that one up. I think it's like a Mold Town or something. I forgot. But that one's one of my favorite. The Sun Vanished is another one. The Sun Vanished Twitter account is fantastic to read. It's real creepy. Again, Alan Tutorial, Everyman Hybrid, Marble Hornets, all of these fantastic online horror storytelling worlds that are just really well done. I really recommend diving into all those. So yeah.